The relentless, razor-sharp wind howled its ancient song across the vast, desolate expanse of the Arctic. Sarah, a marine biologist with a keen intellect and a compassionate heart, shivered despite the layers of advanced thermal gear encasing her. Her breath plumed in the frigid air as she adjusted the heavy hood of her parka, the synthetic fur rimming her face, providing little respite from the biting cold. The inflatable boat, a sturdy vessel designed to brave the ice-choked waters, cut through the churning grey sea with a determined, rhythmic thrum. She was part of a dedicated climate research team, their mission a somber one, to meticulously document the grim, accelerating effects of the melting polar ice caps on the region's delicate and increasingly fragile wildlife. Yet today, an unusual stillness permeated the air, a heavy, almost palpable tension that spoke of something more profound than just the biting cold. It felt like a premonition. They had ventured deep, miles away from the relative safety and warmth of their temporary research station, a small insulated hub precariously perched atop a massive, slowly drifting ice floe. The silence here was absolute, broken only by the disconcerting groan and grind of shifting ice floes rubbing against each other and the faint, monotonous drone of the boat's engine. Then an abrupt, sharp cry from Mark, the team's seasoned navigator and an expert in Arctic terrain, sliced through the quiet. "Sarah, look, over there. It's a polar bear." His voice, usually steady, held a note of urgency. It wasn't altogether uncommon to spot these magnificent apex predators in their natural habitat, but the way this particular bear moved was deeply unsettling. Its gait was a slow, deliberate shuffle, punctuated by an agonizing hesitation with each step. As their vessel cautiously drew closer, the full, devastating truth of its condition unfurled before their horrified eyes. The bear, once a symbol of untamed power and robust health, was now a skeletal spectre, a mere shadow of its former glory. Its once thick, insulating fur was matted and patchy, clinging loosely to prominent, jutting bones. The eyes, which should have gleamed with primal intelligence and a predatory fire, were alarmingly dull, clouded with an unbearable desperation. A visible, painful limp marred its left front paw, and the profound, relentless ache of starvation was etched into every strained muscle, every gaunt contour of its once mighty frame. Sarah felt an immediate, visceral pang in her heart, a sharp ache of empathy that transcended her scientific detachment. Starving polar bears were, sadly, becoming an increasingly common and tragic reality in these changing times, forced by the rapid disappearance of their hunting grounds, the sea ice, to venture into desperate, unfamiliar territories in search of dwindling food sources. But this particular bear was different. It didn't exhibit the usual cautious retreat of a wild animal encountering humans. Instead, as the boat slowly drifted within what should have been a respectful, safe distance, the massive creature, with immense effort, painstakingly turned its enormous head towards them. Its gaze, surprisingly direct and unnervingly vulnerable, seemed to hold an unspoken plea rather than a threat. It took a few more agonizing, limping steps, its body swaying precariously, before it finally collapsed with a soft thud onto the unforgiving ice, its labored breaths fogging in thick, heavy plumes in the sub-zero air. A flurry of nervous, hushed exchanges erupted among the crew. Standard protocol, deeply ingrained from years of field research, dictated maintaining a respectful and safe distance from all wild animals, especially apex predators like polar bears. The risks were undeniable, the potential consequences dire. But this wasn't just any wild animal. It was a visibly dying creature, seemingly reaching out in its rawest form for help. A heated yet hushed debate instantly erupted within the small group. Mark, ever the pragmatist, argued vehemently for extreme caution, stressing the unpredictable nature of an animal pushed to such desperate limits. Yet Sarah, her eyes fixed on the suffering beast, saw only profound, unbearable suffering. "We can't just leave it," she insisted, her voice firm despite the tremor of emotion underlying it. "Look at it. It's not a threat. It's a victim of circumstances beyond its control." The agonizing ethical dilemma, a clash between rigorous scientific guidelines and an overwhelming surge of raw human compassion, hung heavy and palpable in the piercing sub-zero air, weighing on every member of the team. If you're finding this story gripping and want to see what happens next, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more captivating tales of human resilience and the natural world. We bring you powerful, realistic dramas that resonate deep within. The moral quandary, sharp and piercing, hung like a physical weight in the frigid Arctic air. It was a silent, agonizing argument unfolding between the rigid tenets of scientific protocol and the primal urge of raw human empathy. Sarah, despite her extensive training and understanding of the inherent dangers, couldn't shake the haunting image of the emaciated polar bear, collapsed and utterly vulnerable on the unforgiving ice. The sheer magnitude of its suffering gnawed at her, a relentless ache in her soul. "We have to try," she reiterated, her voice cutting through the tense, hushed silence of the crew. "At the very least, we must assess its condition. We simply cannot stand by and let it suffer like this." Mark, though visibly hesitant and wrestling with his own reservations, finally offered a reluctant nod, a gesture of respect for Sarah's unwavering conviction. With painstaking care and an abundance of caution, they began to maneuver the inflatable boat closer to the ice floe, where the immense suffering creature lay. The silence that enveloped them was absolute, broken only by the delicate, almost musical crunch of their insulated boots on the frozen surface, as Sarah, accompanied by the ever-vigilant Mark, cautiously approached the prone, motionless form of the massive bear. Every fiber of their being screamed a primal warning of danger, every instinct urged retreat, yet the bear remained eerily still, its ragged, labored breathing the sole, heartbreaking testament to its continued fragile existence. Sarah knelt, maintaining a safe, respectful distance, her keen eyes methodically scanning its gaunt, bony frame. The injury to its paw was undeniably severe, a deep, ragged gash that looked as though it could have been inflicted by a treacherous fall on sharp ice or a desperate losing struggle. Its once magnificent fur, meant to be a pristine white blanket of insulation, was now a sorrowful tapestry of matted patches, caked with old, dirty snow and grime, a stark, heartbreaking contrast to the vibrant, untarnished white of a healthy, thriving bear. The sheer scale of its emaciation was truly shocking. It was a skeletal monument to prolonged hunger and relentless struggle. It was painfully clear that the creature was far beyond the capability of hunting, beyond even the strength to move much further on its own. Returning swiftly to the boat, Sarah immediately convened a hushed, urgent conference with the rest of the team. They did, fortunately, carry a limited supply of emergency provisions for injured wildlife, a standard part of their remote Arctic expeditions. However, the notion of attempting to transport such an enormous, weakened animal was entirely out of the question. Their only viable recourse was to provide immediate temporary relief, and then make an urgent, desperate appeal to their main base for a specialized wildlife rescue team. This was a process fraught with uncertainty, one that could potentially take many hours, perhaps even several days, given their extreme remote location and the notoriously unpredictable, often violent, Arctic weather patterns. With a shared sense of purpose, they began to prepare a makeshift feeding station. They carefully laid out a selection of high-calorie protein bars and rehydrated, nutrient-rich fish, placing them with extreme caution on the ice a few feet from the still bear. The tantalizing scent of the food seemed to stir something deep within the creature. Slowly, with an almost agonizing effort, the bear managed to lift its massive head, its dull, listless eyes fixing with an almost desperate intensity on the offering. It took another long, agonizing minute for it to muster the incredible strength to drag its weakened body, inch by painstaking inch, towards the sustenance. The heart-wrenching sight of this once majestic apex predator, now reduced to such a desperate, vulnerable state, tore at the hearts of the entire team. It ate slowly, almost painfully, each labored bite a profound testament to its raw, unyielding will to survive. As the sun, a pale, distant orb, began its slow, majestic descent towards the horizon, painting the vast, endless sky in breathtaking hues of fiery orange, soft rose, and deep purple, a menacing blizzard began to brew in the distance. The wind, a formidable force of nature, picked up with alarming speed, whipping stinging snow across the already treacherous ice. They knew, with a heavy sense of dread, that they couldn't linger. With incredibly heavy hearts, they began to pack their limited gear, leaving the remaining portion of the precious food carefully placed near the bear. Sarah cast one last, lingering look back. The bear, for the moment sated, was resting, its breathing now a little less strained, a fraction more regular. It was a small, fragile victory, but a victory nonetheless, a flickering ember of hope against the crushing Arctic indifference. The long, anxious wait for the specialized rescue had now officially begun, and with it, the fervent, desperate hope that their humble, courageous act had been enough to keep the magnificent creature clinging to life. Stay tuned for the thrilling conclusion. If you're finding this emotional journey compelling, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the powerful final chapter and more real-life dramas. The blizzard raged for nearly 24 hours, engulfing the Arctic in a complete whiteout. Sarah and her team huddled in their shelter, constantly worried about the lone polar bear left to brave the storm. Had their compassionate act been in vain? When the storm finally broke, revealing a pristine, snow-covered world bathed in sunlight, their immediate priority was to return to the bear's last known location. The ice was treacherous, making the journey slow and difficult. Every minute felt like an hour of agonizing anxiety. As they cautiously approached the area, dread washed over Sarah. The spot was empty, covered in fresh snow. Had it succumbed to the elements? Had a more robust predator found it? A profound sadness settled over the team. Just as despair began to set in, Mark, scanning the horizon with his binoculars, suddenly exclaimed, "Wait! Look! Over there!" About a quarter-mile away, nestled behind a small ice ridge, was a dark shape. As they approached, it became clearer, larger. It was the polar bear, and miraculously, it wasn't alone. Standing beside it were two figures in bright orange cold-weather suits. Overwhelming relief washed over Sarah. The specialized rescue team had arrived. They had braved the storm and found the bear. As Sarah and her team drew closer, they saw the rescue crew administering fluids and performing an examination. The bear, though still weak, was responsive, its eyes now holding a glimmer of life. One of the rescuers, a seasoned wildlife veterinarian, walked over to greet them. "You saved its life," he said with a grateful smile. "If you hadn't fed it and contacted us, it wouldn't have made it through the blizzard." He explained that the bear, nicknamed Blizzard, would be transported to a specialized rehabilitation center in Canada for intensive care. Its injured paw would be treated, and its strength slowly regained. The journey would be long, but Blizzard now had a precious chance at recovery. Watching the majestic animal, now carefully sedated for transport, Sarah felt a profound sense of purpose. In the vast, indifferent wilderness, a small, selfless act of human compassion had defied the odds. It was a powerful reminder that even in the face of overwhelming environmental challenges, individual actions, born of empathy and courage, could make a tangible, life-saving difference. Blizzard's incredible story, a testament to resilience and the profound connection between humans and animals, would forever serve as a potent symbol of hope. This story is a work of fiction. We hope you were moved by Blizzard's incredible journey. If you want to see more powerful, realistic dramas that explore the depths of human-animal connections and the resilience of life, please subscribe to the channel and join our community. Your support helps us tell more incredible and impactful stories.